Ladies and gentlemen, friends and colleagues, donors and supporters. My name is Nathalie Trott, Director of Development and Alumni Relations here at Queen's. And I'm delighted to welcome you to this, our second virtual thank you event. Once again, we have people joining us from around the world as we acknowledge your generosity and highlight the importance of philanthropy. Over the next half hour, we'll be joined by Georgina Copty, who is supporting Queen's through a significant gift right now, and Alan McKelvey, who has pledged a legacy gift. We'll also hear from a number of colleagues and students on how your gifts have impacted their lives. But first, I am delighted to introduce Professor Ian Greer, President and Vice-Chancellor of the University, who has been leading Queen's through the challenges and uncertainties over the last 20 months. Ian.
Thank you, Nathalie, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us virtually once again as we recognise the important role of philanthropy here at Queen's. I'd like to start by paying tribute to Dr. John King, Chair of the University Foundation Board. John sadly passed away in August of this year. John was a pharmacy alum of Queen's twice over, in 1971 and in 1974 when he was awarded his PhD, and of course an esteemed honorary graduate in 2006. As well as a former member of staff of the university, he was a highly valued member of the Queen's Foundation Board, joining in 2016 and serving as its chair from 2018 until his passing. He was a passionate advocate of the importance of education and research in changing lives. A loyal and generous donor to Queen's since 2005, in August of this year, his donations passed the £2 million mark. He was a keen supporter of pharmaceutical chemistry research and of the new KN Chung SK Chin Simulation Centre. In addition to his considerable donations, he also gave very generously of his time and his experience. He led the board with the same focus and commitment that he exercised throughout his career, demonstrating exceptional clarity of vision and building global relationships to support the university's philanthropic ambitions. On behalf of the entire Queen's community, we extend our sincerest and deepest condolences to John's wife Rachel, his sons and the wider family circle. In reviewing the year, John exemplified what it means to be a supporter of this great university. Thankfully, many of his qualities and characteristics are also shared by many of you joining us here this evening. The support of individuals and organisations throughout the last and very challenging 12 months has been instrumental in enabling Queen's to make an impact, not just locally and nationally, but globally. Your contributions directly help to create a better future for young people and communities here in Northern Ireland and further afield. This ranges from the provision of bursaries for widening participation, through the donations which have made possible the creation of the Brian Friel Digital Archive, to the tremendous support for medical research. You're helping us shape a better world. And from supporting the teaching of STEM subjects by the Caterpillar Foundation, or the funding of scholarships such as the FinTrue Women in Finance, and the annual fund supported GNOR nursing scholarships. You are making a huge difference. Individual donors, those who channel corporate support in our direction, and the many individuals in the community who organise barbecues, cycle long distances or climb mountains, your gifts are all greatly appreciated. At this point, I would like to acknowledge Santander, through Santander Universities UK, who have supported Queen's since 2008. This year, their commitment to Queen's also topped the very significant £2 million milestone. Their current support funds education, entrepreneurship and employability initiatives, as well as diversity and inclusion projects. Each of these offers opportunities to our students to enhance their university experience and, post-COVID, to travel the world to broaden their minds and their horizons. In other highlights of the year, we've also celebrated the first graduates from the Pathway Opportunity Programme, enabling students who otherwise might not have been able to come to Queen's to benefit from an outstanding university experience. This year also marks the completion of Killwater's generous donation to support the first 500 Pathway students with a bursary. We also saw the first students graduating from the Sir James Martin Scholarship Programme. Indeed, we'll hear from Jordan Davidson, one of these students, a little later. Another milestone was the 10-year anniversary of the Patricia Napier Scholarships, which has supported 33 students in the School of Nursing and Midwifery. I'm delighted with your continued support, many new scholarships are being established. This included a generous donation at the start of this year to create the Michael Longley Endowed Scholarship Fund, funding 2 students in the MA in Poetry each year. This recognises the lifetime of poetry excellence from Michael Longley CBE and the critical success of his wife, Professor Emerita Edna Longley. Finally, allow me to acknowledge the wonderful team you all know so well from the Development Office and the members of the Queen's Foundation Board for generating almost 7,000 gifts from 1,339 donors and raising almost £4 million in new funds to support the vision for Queen's in the last year. Thank you all. To all our donors, I say this: your philanthropy is helping to change the world for the better. Your contributions are as highly valued as they are important. I hope we can continue to count on your support as we face what is a very demanding and uncertain future. I look forward to welcoming you back to campus soon and to a more traditional celebration of philanthropy.
Thank you, Vice-Chancellor, for those inspiring words. And thank you for your very warm tribute to Foundation Board Chair Dr. John King. John was an inspirational sounding board for me, always cheerful and so very astute. He was, as the Vice-Chancellor said, generous with his own philanthropy and with his time. He challenged and pushed us here at the university to be better, exactly as our champions should, and he was always on our side. In the all too brief time I knew John, his passion for Queen's and commitment to a belief in the transformative power of philanthropy inspired me daily. I know that I, along with many others, am really going to miss him. In the last year, one thing John was particularly delighted about was welcoming a number of new members to the Foundation Board. And in a moment, I'm going to hand over to one of them, Georgina Copty. Throughout my career, I've been privileged to meet and work with numerous donors and volunteers. It's always so interesting to understand their motivation for their generosity and philanthropy. So it's my very great pleasure to introduce Georgina to share her story with you. Georgina.
I grew up in Jerusalem in a very loving home, but our finances were constrained. I am a walking example of the impact of philanthropy. Throughout my higher education, I benefited from other people's generosity in the form of scholarships and financial support, which allowed me to receive the type of education that I longed for but knew was out of my reach. Somebody believed in me. Somebody who didn't know me and wasn't connected to my family invested in me. I am now in a place to be able to do the same. And having been the recipient, I know firsthand the transformational power of such a gift. I recognize that there are social inequalities in the world. I want to take a proactive role in tackling that problem in a systematic way, ultimately bringing about change for good. I like to support initiatives that are aligned with my values and where I feel I can make a real change. One of the things my husband Chris and I both feel most strongly about is the importance of education. Having both benefited from a Queen's University education, we had a first-hand experience of the values that Queen's fosters. Queen's is committed to the local community whilst maintaining a global outlook. And so, it was only natural to gravitate towards a partnership with Queen's on our philanthropic journey. And that was the genesis of the Copty Scholarship. The scholarship is aimed at enabling a student from Palestine to gain a postgraduate qualification at Queen's. We're very pleased that the first graduate has already been selected, and we look forward to following his progress. It has been such a pleasure partnering with Queen's University. Working with the staff at Queen's has been a hugely positive experience. They were receptive to our ideas and worked hard to ensure that our gift to Queen's was implemented in a way that was most meaningful to us. Education equips a person with the necessary tools to be able to change their lives. They're the ones doing the work. We're simply facilitating their journey by helping them get on the right path. The end result will be that they can transform their lives, and the world as a whole is a little bit better off as a result.
Gina, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on giving to Queen's. Your commitment to paying it forward and supporting others is an inspiration. Ladies and gentlemen, next we'll hear from some of our students and our researchers who are beneficiaries of named scholarships and awards across the university. These include Dr. David Wright, a recently appointed ophthalmic data science lecturer, supported by a generous gift from Belfast Association for the Blind, as well as recipients of the Dr. Dinah Kona and Lockery PhD studentships. These awards have been funded by corporate supporters, charitable trusts, and individual and family donors.
My name is Dr. David Wright, and I would like to thank the Belfast Association for the Blind for the support they provided for my lectureship in ophthalmic data science. Ophthalmology concerns the treatment of eye conditions, and when these become serious, they can have a devastating impact on people's quality of life. Ophthalmology is also a very high-tech branch of medicine. Sophisticated machines are used to measure how the eye functions and to image its structures in fine detail and 3 dimensions. And in the process, vast quantities of data are generated. My research is involved with making the very best use of these data, using techniques from statistics and computer science. I analyze anonymized electronic medical records for thousands of patients with 3 of the most common sight-threatening conditions. That's age-related macular degeneration, glaucoma, and diabetic eye disease. For age-related macular degeneration, I'm working with an international team of scientists, and we are testing the abilities of artificial intelligence algorithms to monitor the progression of the disease. The aim of the project is to see whether these algorithms could be employed to lift some of the burden of overworked clinicians. For glaucoma, we're developing mathematical tools to predict which patients are likely to progress most rapidly in the disease and would need to be seen at very regular intervals, and which are at lower risk and could safely be monitored less frequently, reducing the burden on the patients themselves and the clinics that they attend. For diabetic eye disease, we're looking at treatment optimization and trying to make sure that patients only receive treatments that are right for them at the time that is right for them. The aim of these projects is to use data to improve management of these very serious eye diseases and reduce costs to patients and the NHS at the same time. And I'd like to thank the Belfast Association for the Blind again for their support in this.
Hello, my name is Davidson and I'm the first recipient of the Sir James Martin Entrance Scholarship. The scholarship's been incredible, £10,000 a year to spend how you like. So a couple of things I did with it. Obviously I was able to not pay any student fees for the few years I was at uni. So I can highly recommend it. A wonderful scholarship. If you can get on it, absolutely do. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kateah Walker. I'm a PhD student within the Patrick Johnson Centre for Cancer Research. I am funded by a scholarship kindly donated to Queen's University by Julie Lowry. My PhD project is focused on drug response in breast cancer. We hope to find drugs which can be used in combination with traditional chemotherapy to improve response. I would not have been able to do a PhD without this scholarship. I can't find the right words to thank Julie for her kind gift. I only hope to work hard and make her proud, so big thank you.
Hi all, my name is Philip Hamill and I'm a second year student currently studying accounting. Last year I was honoured to be a recipient of the KPMG scholarship. The financial aid granted to me by the scholarship has led me to move to Belfast. eliminating the need for me to undertake a daily 2-hour commute. This has allowed me to allocate more time towards my studies and my extracurricular activities. The laptop they supplied me with last year also allowed me to make the most of the modules being delivered virtually. This was definitely a contributing factor to my success. Furthermore, the work experience that I undertook with them over the summer gave me an insight into corporate finance and plenty of opportunities to meet other students. Ultimately, I would like to thank KPMG for their continued support, specifically Gary Borland and Philip Maxwell for their mentorship, and Johnny Hanna for granting me this opportunity. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Cathal Roarty. I'm a second year PhD student at the Wellcome Wolfson Institute for Experimental Medicine here at Queen's, and my project focuses on paediatric COVID and in particular PIMS TS. The Dr. Dina Conner Studentship Fund helps fund my studies, and I owe a huge debt of gratitude to the fund. The funding means that I can focus my time and attention entirely on my project rather than having to work a part-time job to help pay the bills, pay for rent and food and so on. Because of this, my time can be spent entirely on either collecting patient samples, working in the lab, or reading the papers that have been recently published to stay on top of my field. I'm not sure that without the funding, I would be capable of balancing study, work and downtime without burning out, to be honest. The security the studentship provides me allows me to focus solely on my project and removes what can be a large source of stress in student life. For this, I'm extremely grateful for the continuing generosity of the Dr. Dina Conner Studentship Fund.
Aren't our students and staff just wonderful? Thank you all so much, and very best wishes in your studies and your research. Another group whose generosity and foresight I'd like to acknowledge this evening are those who have signed up to leave a legacy to the university. Over the last decade, we have received more than £9 million from gifts in wills left to us by alumni and friends. As well as helping to support research, teaching and facilities, this generosity has allowed us to respond quickly to areas of urgent need. One such example is a recent legacy from Menda Lambranudi. Menda completed a certificate in psychiatric studies at Queen's, which enabled her to fulfil her ambition to be a social worker, counsellor and psychiatrist. In her will, Menda supported 13 charities, including those educational institutions that had supported her career progression. Her extraordinary gift has put into action plans for an immersive space to research and treat mental health problems for students and local communities. Entitled the Immersive Technologies and Digital Mental Health Network, it will be a transdisciplinary partnership of academics, service providers, practitioners, and technology companies, focusing on therapeutic and pedagogical advances in mental health and social care, using innovative digital technologies. The funds will support PhD students and research equipment. The project is also strongly aligned to the innovation and digital pillar of the Belfast Region City Deal. Thanks to this amazing legacy gift from Menda, our researchers are able to create a dedicated space to research, understand and treat the increasingly important area of mental health illness, an area which desperately needs our focus at this time. This is such a worthwhile project, and just one example of the many ways in which legacy gifts are supporting the university and our vision. And I'm now delighted to introduce Alan McKelvey, an alumnus and lifetime donor, who will explain why he is also choosing to support Queen's through a gift in his will. Alan.
I consider my generation to have been extremely fortunate. We never had to fight in a world war. We had an outstanding, completely free university education, plus a government grant each term. And when we graduated, we all had really good jobs to go to. And I've never received a penny of unemployment benefit in my life. Now, I think it's time to give something back. As the City of Belfast's motto says, pro tanto quid retribuamus, for so much what shall we give back? I want to give something back to Queen's as an expression of my personal gratitude for the enormously happy years I enjoyed there. I made a donation to the Queen's annual fund each year whenever I was working, and now that I'm retired, I've left Queen's a lump sum in my will. I'm actually thinking of increasing the amount because my children, who are the other beneficiaries of my will, are now well established in life and wouldn't miss what they've never had. So my question to you is, what will you give back? We've had a great life following our time at Queen's, and I think it's time for you and for all of us to give something back to our alma mater, to our university, to the Queen's University of Belfast. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan, for joining us and for your ringing endorsement of the university and your belief in our future. The annual fund at Queen's enables a great many donors to contribute each year to the well-being experience of students at Queen's, as well as to other key initiatives. This year has been another challenging one for our students, but with your generosity, the annual fund has continued to support many projects across the campus, including a laptop loan scheme, which has helped many of our students make the transition to remote learning. And we'll hear shortly from one of those students. We've also continued to commit our efforts to raise funds to support young people coming to Queen's through the Pathway Opportunity Programme. Earlier this year, we created the Bright Future Collective, an initiative which aims to bring local businesses together to support the Pathway students as we reaffirm our commitment to provide bursaries for a growing number of students each year. And so, who better to conclude this evening for us than Kateah McNally, one of the first graduates of the Pathway Opportunity Programme this year.
Hi, I'm Katie, a recent graduate from Queen's. I recently graduated with Law with Politics, and I was one of the first students to actually enter into the Pathway Opportunity Programme. When I was first accepted into the Pathway Programme, I was not overly confident in my academic ability. I really struggled academically in school. I really struggled with confidence, and when I was accepted into the Pathway Programme, they supported me in so many different ways, whether it was through their programmes that they did, giving us a taster of the degree, but also through the network of friends I made. We supported each other throughout study days, met up with each other, and just gave me the confidence, knowing that whenever I entered into the degree that I would have friends there. The Pathway Programme really motivated me to perform to the best of my academic ability. I have so much gratitude for them, but also for the donors. With the kind donation that the donors made, I was able to leave full-time work. I had 2 jobs entering into university, and right up until I actually received that donation, I was able to cut my hours down to part-time. This was an amazing opportunity. It gave me confidence in my academic ability because it gave me more time in the library to focus on my studies. I'm so internally grateful to the Pathway donors. I could have never completed my degree without the aid of the bursary. It gave me amazing experience that I was able to put onto the CV. They were able to link us with firms as big as Linklaters, Herbert Smith Freehills and Baker McKenzie. So to be able to say that I had that experience and put that on my CV was essential in me being able to attain my current graduate job within PwC. I'm starting as a legal associate, and it's very exciting to be working at a firm like that. To all the Pathway donors, I would like to say thank you very, very much, and to the Pathway programme for helping me get my degree.
Hello, my name is Clare McCorry and I'm a second-year law student. I received a laptop loan in November of last year during the winter assessments. My own laptop was broken and I had to isolate on top of that, which meant that I couldn't even use the library. Without the laptop loan, there is no way that I would have been able to finish semester 1, as I had no way to even upload my submissions, never mind research and write. My message to the donors is quite simple. Your support does not go unappreciated. The amount of relief that I felt when I was loaned a laptop is almost indescribable, I'm sure you all appreciate how stressful completing assessments can be. And having to do that in a year that was completely online without a laptop was extremely stressful. So I just wanted to thank you all and let you know of how appreciative I am for the loan.
Thank you so much to Claire and Katie. It's hard to overstate how much I am really looking forward to welcoming so many of you back to campus for a real-life celebration of your generosity and philanthropy. But I am heartened by the interconnectedness across oceans that we can achieve with events like this enabled by technology. I hope you've enjoyed this evening as much as I have. You, our donors and supporters, really are changing lives and turning vision into reality. It's humbling and inspirational in equal measure. All that remains for me is to thank each of you who continues to support Queen's so generously, all those who participated in this evening of celebration, and those who helped in the production of this video. I wish you and those you love well, and hope to meet again before too long.